The Emancipation Proclamation was signed on January 1st, 1863.
Can't you free me? My God, free me, man.
In a country increasingly recognizing Juneteenth, highlighting the story of how freedom was slowly gained through the South feels urgent.
The Yankees come through, and I can remember that.
This series will explore the fragmented journey to freedom across the 5 states of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. This is Liberation Season.
And be free.
We learned that this was all black. Just a lot of heritage here, and having this type setting brings a lot of pride back and remind our people of who they are.
When you talk about the 8th of May, it takes me back to a kid growing up in the rural part of the county, that 8th of May was a holiday for black people. I mean, they didn't characterize it as an official holiday. It was a holiday that black folks assumed. And of course, for a long time, people didn't know why. They just knew it was 8th of May.
As a kid, though, I just knew 8th of May. Didn't know the history of it. Didn't know the meaning behind it. All I knew is that the 8th of May meant something. And everybody would converge and, have a big fun, it was like a big family reunion.
They would celebrate, especially at churches in the country. As a kid, my mom would take us to a church and of course, part of the big thing was beating the drum. We're gonna go to 8th of May and they're gonna beat the drum.
So the arrival of Union troops was greeted with freedom and a sense of victory by the vast majority of the population.
The 8th of May celebrated in this community included drums being drummed in rural churches throughout the county and nearby counties. And the newspapers indicate that special trains brought African Americans from surrounding cities. So it really was a regional celebration in the black community. There were speeches, there were ball games, there were barbecues and things like that.
A lot of people from all over town, because so many people got their start in this community, but they moved off different places in the city, out of state, and they would all come back home. It was like a big family reunion. So, and it was very enlightening. A lot of camaraderie. You saw people that you normally wouldn't see, if that makes sense, that will come back just to reminisce, and revitalize the network that they had. They would have different gospel groups come out and vendors and things of that nature. And it would be a big celebration. Drink, eat, be merry, tell a few lies, you know how it is. It's a big cookout, I guess is the best way to describe it. And it is always welcoming.
And of course, as time passed, and a lot of older people passed, a generational thing, not understanding the struggle of black folks and not understanding the importance of it, it kind of died down. Of course, Chuck Yarborough from the Mississippi Math and Science School is kind of a leading figure in black history around here. They reactivated the celebration of 8th of May.
My name is Chuck Yarborough. I teach history at the Mississippi School for Math and Science. And the 8th of May in 1865 is when Union troops arrived here in Columbus. And that effectively brought emancipation to this community. And this county was 70.8% enslaved on the eve of the Civil War. And the 1870 census indicates that it was 75% African American at that time. So those Union troops arrived in a community that was vast majority Black and vast majority enslaved. So freedom meant something. The 8th of May Emancipation Celebration today is a creation of me and my students 20 years ago, in 2006. A student named Renita Holmes, who was a senior who had performed in another research performance project I do called Tales from the Crypt, wanted to do a Black History Month program. And in my memory, it was February 26th when she asked me to do this. I told her it's too late to get it done for Black History Month. So instead, what I said was there is a significant date, May 8th. So we worked out May 8th as a day to do a performance in the cemetery. We call ours the 8th of May Emancipation Celebration, intentionally to not appropriate a different celebration. You know, ours is a research project that explores the fact of emancipation and its aftermath and allows students to do research to then understand something about the past that then contributes to the current community. So I think of it as a leadership project.
You know, and I think that now you're going to see the 8th of May begin to expand as people begin to, you know, understand what it is. You know, it's important that those of us that experience some things that we try and pass the baton and keep teaching and making people understand. I'm sure in some places of Mississippi they still celebrate it, but as a kid, it was probably the biggest thing in Lowndes County. Not the 4th of July, but the 8th of May.